Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Correct Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 2018 action crime thriller titled Betrayed. Now, Betrayed runs for 1 hour and 38 minutes long. It is directed by Harley Wallen. The script was written by Harley Wallen. It is produced by Harley Wallen and Nancy Oswine. It is composed by Kazad Patel. The cinematography by Michael Keaton Bell, and it was edited by Michael Keaton Bell. And the stars of the movie are John Savage, Richard Tyson, Billy Wirth, T.J. Storm, Calhoun Koenig, Blanco, Yan Birch, Kayden Bryce, Harley Wallen, Katie Wallen, Angelina, Danielle, Cama, Brian Heinz, Jimmy Chiapelli, I should say. I would get these names right eventually. Shaun Ray, Coleen Gentry, Joe Piazza, Jerry Hayes, and Jessika Johnson. Written and directed by Harley Wallen, Betrayed marks the 7th film that he has contributed to both on the screen and behind the camera. The movie itself should be noted that it is filled with an abundance of intense violence and very heavy vulgarity. This movie is not for the weak of heart. It deals with a very serious subject matter. It's about human trafficking. And let's just say it is definitely not PG. It is definitely quite the R rating. The film just runs under the 90-minute mark. The film centers around the city of Detroit, where Mayor Alderman, played by John Savage, invites a Russian gang into the big city, only to know that they are playing the human trafficking game, and that indicates kidnapping young ladies and selling them to prostitution. The mayor originally hired these Russians to pave the way for a cartel to arrive, but the Russians, as you may know, had other plans, which has them eventually kidnapping his young daughter, Marie, played by Katie Wallen. One of the great things that stands out about Betrayed is that it is actually quite educational in its storytelling underneath all the facade of action crime thriller and something that probably was like a cheap knockoff of these action films that Liam Neeson has been starring in since 2012 with Taken. But it does educate us about the evils of human trafficking. It's bold plus daring that very few people never talk about. The story, for the most part, was quite compelling, though the dialogue was very muddled at times. It's demanding to have major and supporting characters to provide us with interesting dialogue that's both smart and informative. But we don't see that here at times. However, the story did, however, kept my interest and the characters remained compelling. The tone was quite dark, and the feelings we get can be quite spine-chilling. It was expected that the movie centered around hoodlums and human trafficking, and Wallen set at the atmosphere at the right pitch, both in front doing the script writing and the directing, and also playing the leading antagonist. Though it runs at a snail's pace, it's on target with the suspense that is provided for us. Sadly, I was hoping for a big payoff in the climax between the Russians and the cartel. Instead, they took the ending on a completely different route. Far for me to complain, it did result in a satisfying ending to the movie. I was just hoping for an electrifying gunfight. The real complaint I have was the constant shaky camera work. It distracted my attention I had for this movie, making it off-putting at times. Yeah, I mean, it kind of felt like something seen from a Paul Greengrass movie, sort of like in the whole shaky cam stuff that you see like in the Bourne movies. The cast consisted of lesser known performers like John Savage as Mayor Alderman, Katie Wallen as his kidnapped daughter Marie, Richard Tyson as Mr. Stone, Billy Wirth as the vigilante in the film. He's kind of almost playing a similar Liam Neeson type anti-hero type action guy. Harley Wallen himself as the leading villain, Mikhail Kovalchuk. Shaun Ray as Daryl, who works for the Russian traffickers, but obviously is like conflicted, being that he doesn't really want to be there, but we'll get more into that. And Aphrodite Nikolovsky as Detective Sandra Miller. Everyone in the ensemble did an impressive job in their respective performances, but I really was invested in Shaun Ray's performance. Though he is a card-carrying member of the sadistic criminal syndicate, from his expression and body language we can tell he really doesn't want to be there. It's his devotion to the organization that keeps him there. For a villain, there is some subliminal level of sympathy that makes his character all the more compelling. John Savage, who is an unknown, even though his acting career, his resume spans back to the late 1960s, does a wonderful job, and his veteran talents really do come into great effect. Billy Wirth was great in his role as a lone wolf hitman and succeeds as the anti-hero that saves the day. In the end, Harley Wallen, the man of the hour, is wonderful at being the villain, and he adds that spark to his slimeball demeanor that makes Kovalchuk such a loathsome bad guy. Technically wise, the special effects were frugal in terms of budget, but it didn't ruin the movie at all. Sure, the effects come to life during the shootout, but the practical effects were very effective during the exciting torture scene. And even though I would like to say this movie is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, it is still a good watch. There's still a lot of great things to like about this movie. It kind of reminds me of a lot of these street action suspense movies, similar in the same vein as those Liam Neeson movies like Taken, Run All Night, and a few other ones too, where, I mean, it is a great watch. I would recommend it. Don't really expect your expectations to be too high, but because of the low budget and there's not a lot of big name actors or actresses here, but I think it does its job of telling us all there is to know about the dangers of human trafficking, and this kind of activity does need to stop. Although it is a work of fiction, there is still a lot of realism and still a lot of stuff that we can learn from this movie. So when all is said and done, if I was to give this movie a scale out of 10, I would give Betrayed from 2018 a 6 out of 10. So I guess this ends my writer review. Thank you all for listening in. If you wish to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please feel free to do so. If you wish to leave a comment, go right ahead. But just remember the 3 simple rules. Be kind, be courteous, and please refrain from any rude comments. And I will be back again with another movie review. So until next time, this is Eric Currat Writer saying, keep watching those movies, and I'll see you around. Goodbye.